What's going on, family? It's the Lucky Libra here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. As y'all can see by the title, we're picking up the Signs Through the Houses series, okay? And we got Virgo in the 4th house. So y'all go ahead, like, share, subscribe, tap into my Patreon if you want to dive deeper, and tap into my website if you'd like to connect with me. So let's get right into it. Virgo in the 4th house. What is the 4th house? All right, you got to take a... We talking about the water houses, 4th, 8th, 12th house. You got to take a nice deep exhale. Like, we're dealing with the subconscious, all right? We're dealing with your internal energies here. And when we look at the 4th house, that's what we're dealing with. Your emotional well-being, your emotional stability. This is the most private house in the chart. Okay, when we look at the 4th house, we're dealing with home, the home environment, family matters, family issues. Relationships with your parents, relationships with relatives, the things that you have experienced within the home. All right, we're looking at things in your adolescent childhood stages. So, and how ultimately these things have, shaped or built how you deal with your subconscious, how you deal with your privacy overall. So when we when we got Virgo here, when we have the constellation Virgo here, this is my this is my this is my Gemini risings. Yeah, it's my Gemini risings. So when we have Virgo in the 4th house, the 4th house is going to be a little strict here. Home might be a little strict. Some rules and guidelines in the 4th house. You know, parents had order. There was some order with the parents. There was some form of structure. Structure may have been something that was enforced in the home, you know. So depending on like where you go to school or something, you probably deal with the authorities in school. Then when you come home, it's like damn, all right, this part 2. All right, I got to make sure I ain't leaving no dishes. Make sure my homework done. One of my parents checking for my homework or something. So it may be a sense of that there, a sense of that form of having a format, being routined, and them behaviors being developed in the home. Now, the thing here is, we have the ruler Mercury here. You need to know where Mercury is at. Whatever house Mercury is in, that's going to influence a lot beyond the sign in the house, which what I'm talking about now, and what planets you have in the house. The ruler has ownership over the vibrations in that house. So if you have Mercury in the 5th house, whatever Mercury's got going on in the 5th house, it's bringing that to the 4th house. You got Mercury in the 8th house, it's bringing that the things that is experiencing in the 8th house into your 4th house. All right, so you have to understand that when we talk about rulers. All right, so the ruler is Mercury. So Mercury is what? Very critical, very detail oriented. All right, the constellation of Virgo itself, very curious, informative. Virgo likes to build things, construct things. So when you put that type of energy in the 4th house, you may in some type of shape or form, your home environment may have been structured where you had to learn how to format things, put things together. But with Mercury being curious and shit, you may have, this is something I see like with Gemini in the 4th house, Mercury in the 4th house, Virgo in the 4th house, wherever that Mercury influence is at, if it's touching the 4th house, you can have somewhat of an invasion of privacy here. It's hard to deal with private matters at times. And the funny thing about it is like, okay, with Virgo in the 4th house, you may have a bit of invasion of privacy. You may not be able to hide things in the home or whatnot, in your childhood, whatnot, but when you do communicate things, depending on your parents or whatnot, you might have had parents that held it down, that understood, gave you information you didn't think they were going to give you, depending on what you got going on there. But Virgo, because it's that sense of building and mental exchange when you're dealing with that Virgo constellation, with that Mercury influence here. So when you throw that into the 4th house and some type of shit for that may have been a relationship with the parents here. But Virgo does have a debilitation of Venus. And Venus deals with love and support, our self-esteem, what we value. So when you have a sign with a debilitation of that in the 4th house, then this is where we might start to see some, crutches in the home. You might start to see, maybe too strict of a relationship with the parents, maybe a lot of that love is real practical. It's like, parents demonstrating their love through teaching the responsibility or making sure they get there on top of them for getting good grades and things like that, and not getting to have that exchange, hugs, being more, more caring in a sense, just demonstrating it or expressing it more. So, wherever Virgo's at in your chart is going to be a sense of analyzation. It's going to be a sense of, analysis there. It's going to be a sense of construction there, building things, seeing how things work. So in the fourth house, you may have developed situations through your family where you were, let's say, using sports or whatnot. You may have been heavily critiqued in what you did. If you played football, or if you was into dance pageants, or you was just a really good student and like super dean's list every year, and just like the pressure to keep that up, or whatever you might have been into with Virgo in the fourth house, you might have been heavily critiqued there. But yeah, I do see a lack of love in some type of shape or form when you got Virgo in the fourth house. Might be some lack of love in some type of shape or form, or not understanding love, or just not receiving it the way that you feel like as an adult you should have received it when you was younger or something like that. But when we start probably getting into adult stages and whatnot with Virgo in the fourth house, you're gonna have somebody that's real attentive to how they detail things in their home. It can even manifest into situations where, they really sick with the home decor, styling things in the home, but they're going to have attention to detail for how they like to format things in the home. They may be real uptight when it comes to their privacy and solitude here with Virgo here. Because Virgo's already, the Virgo constellation is already somewhat like, when you communicate with a Virgo, like they're interviewing you, scanning you up and down and whatnot. So when you put that in the fourth house, when it comes to this individual's home, or Gemini rising's home or whatnot, they really have a attention to detail for how they conduct things in the home. Could be the source of communication in the home. A lot of that. You do have Gemini in the first house, so you learn how to communicate, to build structure in the fourth house. So you may be pushed into a lot of situations to have to express your mind, within the home, to make sure things stay on point. Virgo. So yeah, we got Mercury up, but yeah, that's a real strong theme there with Virgo in the fourth house. You being held to that high standards somewhere in some type of shape or fashion within your family home environment. And then it's like, as a Gemini rising, you build a lot of relationships in your personal life. So you got Virgo in here. At times it may feel like, in some type of shape or form, your home family slows you up from what you're trying to do in your first house. It is maybe the form of discipline or responsibility you may have with Virgo here, Earth, because sometimes influence having to work on some responsibility, put that in the fourth house, ain't gonna really have a family structure or parents that probably just let things fly like that. So like you was probably really like, really penalized for certain things, or held up under to certain standard. To you wasn't the child that or whatnot that could just get bad grades for like some reason, like they was on top of you, or like your parents was on top of all of y'all, or the responsibilities you had, you couldn't just drop them in some type of shape or form, because it really affected a lot of people probably with Gemini and LeBron James. I keep saying Gemini rising, like he's the most popular Gemini rising that come to my head. So I'm just thinking about his family structure, being dealing with his stardom and whatnot at his young age. And, I had a close family friend that, one time was telling a story. It was talking about LeBron and whatnot, knew people close to him around the time, You know, she was like a grandma to me, you know, like my spiritual grandma. God bless her, R.I.P. But, you know, she was breaking down. She was like, you know, LeBron, he was like, he had the key to the city as a kid. Like, and I'm just thinking about like all the responsibility he may have had, you know, just with him and his mom and whatnot, you know. So he couldn't just be coming home with bad grades or, I mean, well, it's LeBron James. It's a little different. You never know. Like, they get things done under the door for different individuals. But, you know, just in the sense of having that on top of his shoulders, having to be sharp, you know, having to be organized and structured with his path where he's developing. A lot of that energy may have been built in the home from the former structure. Maybe the ways the ways his mother raised him on top of the natural energies he brought in as a Capricorn, Sun, Aries, Moon, Gemini rising. But for the most part, just in the home environment, he may have felt that responsibility to help his family environment expand, in which he did. You know, got a beautiful family of his own. So, but a lot of them principles may be developed in the home. So yeah, that's what we got. That's what we got with Virgo in the 4th house. These people, these individuals, they're going to see everything in the house too. They're going to see everything that's going on in the home too. They're going to see everything that's going on in the home too. They may not be able to hide anything. Or they may have a crazy invasion of privacy. You know. Nosy siblings, nosy parents. You know, I'm gonna lean on really smart siblings and parents here, but yeah, you gonna see everything too though. You gonna see everything too though. Especially if you a Gemini rising, you got a lot of siblings, grew up with a lot of siblings. Oh man, yeah. All type of gossip. The message gonna pass. You gonna find everything out that's going on in the house before your parents even know you know. But that's what we got going on with Virgo in the 4th house, y'all. We picking up the 4th house series. Next, we getting into Libra in the 4th house, all right? So, y'all make sure y'all tap into that one. Once again, tap into the Patreon, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, family, peace.